right, good day, family. I'm Marlon Bailey, your host of the Savvy Singers TV show, and we are here again, yet another time, to bring you educate, empower, entertain, and I'm sitting with my brother Brandon Best on the inside, songwriter, gospel artist, business owner, married man, have a little baby girl, and he's going to share his experience with us. So welcome on the inside, Brandon. How you doing, bro?
Man, it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I
Yes.
love what you guys are doing here, man.
Yes.
I've always wanted to be here, so
Hey.
I'm happy that you considered me, bro.
Wow. Wow. Is it the Brandon say you always wanted to be? See,
Yeah. I was come and share the stage with you guys, man.
Nice,
It's really
nice,
nice platform.
nice.
I love what you guys are doing here.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you
how
so
you doing?
much. Everything is good. Everything is good, and meeting you guys and having this conversation, you know, not just with ourselves, but interacting with the audience and the community, you know.
Correct.
So how is the married life going, man?
Right. Well, for me, I personally don't have a challenging time with marriage is concerned. It's
Wow.
not boring. It is extremely fun.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we have a very good time. We have a very transparent, open relationship. It's not that, I know it's not that we don't have arguments. You know,
Yeah,
these arguments
yeah,
will come, but generally
Progressive
we have
discussions.
Yes, discussions. But I like that. I will tell her that next time. You need to progress this discussion. Anyway. We literally have a fun time all the time, and persons who know my wife would know that she's nice, short, spicy, red woman.
Yes.
You know, and we enjoy ourselves.
Awesome.
So every day is a good learning process. Every day it's a fun time. Every
like
day
that.
the experience is just joyful.
I like that.
And despite challenges that will come, all days come with challenges.
Yes.
But thus far, marriage life, I would recommend it.
Hey.
If you're asking for my recommendation, and I tell you, well, I would recommend the people.
Thanks, I receive it.
Of course, bro. I know. I said it intentionally.
I know, you understand? That's why he's my brother, you know?
I said it intentionally. Welcome to the fold. Walk into the fold, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Any
much.
of you guys out there, you'll come into the fold now, boy.
Wow.
Married life is nice, you know. Tell you.
See what good that is, Brandon. He come and just take over the show, yes? Nice. How's baby girl, right?
Baby girl is fantastic. Fantastic. You know, sometimes you try to wonder. When you have children, you wonder now if they run the home. Right. It's a kind of what happens is that you're in charge, you know. But then you realize that most of the things that you do is around them. So it's like, you know, wonder if you're getting influenced there. So, you know, tell her, you know, I in charge in this place, you know. But also, we normally have a real good time. Baby girl is good. She's developing good. She's a year and a half now. She's now starting to say some words here and there. You know, she just started to say mommy, which was a very big thing in my house because she said daddy first. Yeah, she's been saying daddy since about 4 months old. So my wife was real upset about that because every time she say mommy, she was like daddy. so it has progressed now. So she says mommy now, and now she's a real mama's girl.
How old is she?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. Awesome.
So she's beautiful.
Bundle of joy.
Yeah,
and
she enjoys life, and I think we're happy that she expresses her childhood like a child. You know, she continues to stay in that zone where she doesn't really be bombarded by outside things. She's a child, and she experiences and she expresses herself like a child, and she has fun like a child every day.
And that's going to lead me to the next point, Brandon. You know, apart from being a role model yourself to the youth.
Like you, bro.
A gospel artist sending your message out. Now you have a life to shape.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how important is that to you and your wife?
Yeah, it's critical because I think when you realize the responsibility that you have over a human being, it's not just anything that you have to leave. It's a literal living, breathing human being that you have to ensure that, you know, they are well fed, that they breathe in tomorrow, that they're well clothed, that they're sheltered, that they're guided well, that ultimately some decisions that they make could be a spin-off of what you have guided them to make decisions and choices later on. And it's like, yo, it's a big job. And God fathers 7 billion of it. And I am I just have one. I'm like, yo, this is a huge job. But I love it because it's a teaching moment. It's a teaching moment, and it gives you value for who God is. Because when you see just the amount of work that goes into fathering a child and parenting a child and mothering a child, and you realize how God sees you.
Wow.
The kind of care and concern that you'd have for your child, the kind of care and concern that he'd had for you.
It reflects.
It's the same thing. The same way that we'd allow them sometimes to fall, to learn, go through some challenges, walk in the mud a little bit so you understand how the mud is. Doesn't mean that the parent is far away. They just want to learn how to go through so that you get stronger.
That's right.
Same thing. We go through challenges. We back might get bruised a little bit because going through.
Right.
But God is right there and He's saying, yo, but I'm fathering you through the process. So go through the process because it's a part of your parent. It's part of your childhood into your adulthood. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it. My wife and I, we really love it. Right?
I see the little preacher start coming out in him.
No. Don't do that.
Okay. And I love the fact that you took us to the fact that we all go through challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
And Brandon, I want you to take us to that season.
Yeah.
You know, it was heavy. It was heavy. And I remember that song, you know, Teach Me How to Praise.
Yeah, man.
You know, what caused you to pen that song?
What Teach Me How to Praise is a song that was built out of a lot of pain. That song is one that I wrote right after my brother committed suicide. That's my eldest brother. He had 3 PhDs, PhD in maths, IT. He's an actuarial scientist.
Wow.
In London. Really well off,
Yes.
really, really well off. But my brother committed suicide because he never got over the death of my mother. And she died in 2008 in a car crash. So for me, family death is not something that I am new to because I've experienced it. And it's, for me, it has been very close, immediate. My brother, when after my mom died, 7 years later, he took on depression so hard that he wasn't able to overcome.
Come out of that.
And he overdosed on depression pills, and I had just finished running a concert that same year called Resurrection. The concert had brought DJ Nicholas inside.
I remember that.
Everybody, we had a nice, great, grand
the
concert.
Ambassador
At the Ambassador Hotel. And the next day, as I get up, I think I was on my way to 90.1 to meet with Avon and Hector, and then my sister calls she calls and she says, yo, you heard about your brother? And I'm like, what? And she's like, you know, he died. And I was like, stop telling me jokes. There's not even that time for jokes. And she's like, no, he literally committed suicide.
Jesus.
And I was like, yo, that just sent me down in a hole. Yeah. A deep, deep hole. Because I'm like, God, I just lost my mother when I was getting ready to do CXC. I then lost my brother now. Took suicide. I'm like, yo, but I'm serving you. I don't even know what is going on. Yeah. And I just feel so frustrated. It sunk me in a space, boy. And I said, God, you had to help me through this season. And He guided me through the scriptures where Paul and Silas, when they were in prison, they decided to praise God and the walls came down. And I was looking at not so much that the walls came down, but a lot more about their attitude. The fact that they were in prison, which is not really a comfortable place to be in. And their decision was to praise. And then the result of making that decision was that the walls came down and that things happened and the breakthrough came out. Even so that the person who was sent to be their jailer, he became converted because of that. Wow. So I was like, this is the attitude. Because where I was in a dark place. I was like, but this is the attitude that I want. And like, God, teach me how to praise through the storm. You know, and that's how that song was built. Help me say hallelujah through this process. Teach me how to get over. Teach me how to move past this. And I know this song has been a big blessing to a lot of people. Yes. But this song was for me. It was initially for me because I needed some encouragement and reminder of what the process should be. Teach me how to praise through the storm. Every day I say hallelujah. So then my concert mode now was like, when I feel down, hallelujah, let me praise through that. When I feel like, let me praise through that. So my persona, my character, my emotions became a lot stronger as I put that into practice. Yes.
Definitely, and it took you some time to get there.
Yeah, it's not a one night fix. Yeah. It don't happen just because the song gets big. Exactly. It takes work, a lot of work, You have to make a decision. Honestly, you have to make a decision that says I am going to choose to be in a position where I'm going to praise my way out of the situation. Like I'm denying my logical understanding of all of these things that are happening today, and I'm going to say I am choosing intentionally that I'm going to praise it through.
Yeah.
I have no idea what results praising through would get me. But my choice, rather than cry, rather than get soaked up with the whole day being depressed, I'm going to choose to praise it through, and then I'm going to trust that whatever follows that would be better.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes,
I
sir.
think that was my decision. It was a decision.
Right. And you built that momentum going forward. It's like the Psalm, I will bless the Lord at all times.
At all times.
You literally have to will yourself to praise.
Correct.
Yes.
I also believe that when David was saying, like, this is the day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it, he's still making a decision here. He's choosing that this is the day that the Lord has made, and this day doesn't necessarily come without challenges. But he's making a choice. I'm going to choose to rejoice and be glad in it. So I think that daily decision is what gave me fortitude, what gave me the muscles and the strength, because you need it.
Yes,
but it don't happen overnight.
Yes, sir.
It takes constant work, and some days you'd want to give up. Just some days you're gonna want to throw in the towel. Some days it's gonna be worse than some. Some days you're not gonna want to. I remember I had sunk so deep in depression that I didn't even want to bathe at a point in time. I was in a room. I just wanted darkness. It was just like thinking about it now. It's like so. It makes you even. It's like so scary because it's like you just wanted a room of isolation and darkness. You didn't want to be. You just don't do nothing at all.
That's one of the flags.
Yeah.
To identify.
Correct.
And even as we're speaking to persons that are looking at us, those are some of the things that you look at when you're seeing signs of depression.
Yep.
People withdrawing themselves. People isolating themselves. And sometimes we have a saying is like, okay, you're not yourself today.
Yeah, correct.
So check up on people.
Yeah, I think it's important to get. Sometimes you need some friends who are willing to bombard your space.
Right.
I was thankful to have some people that was willing to do that, who were willing to bombard your space and be like, I'm not going to see you alone and leave you alone. Sometimes the Christian problem that we might have is that we might say, I'll pray for you, but I'll still leave you to go back into that hole. Yes, but that hole, a darkness, just breeds negativity. So everything inside that dark room develops.
Brandon, that's good right there,
I'm just saying. Everything in that dark room develops. I have more time in that dark room than I have in the conversation with you. So sometimes we need some people to come and start to go into that room with you. And start to turn on some lights. You need some light.
Turn the lights on.
You need some light.
Yes,
you need some light. You need some light. So sometimes, some places, you need some people to bombard that space and say, nah, we're not going to leave you alone here, bro.
I like that. I'll see you alone, but I will not leave you alone.
Correct.
And that's powerful.
Correct.
That's powerful. And now, fast track, you out of that. You have learned, now you are empowering others.
Amen.
And the gospel fraternity, the industry, writing songs, hit after hit, in there. What is that journey for you, Brandon? How did it all start?
To be very honest, my start started. I said started. So
that's fine.
But it began when my mother died in a car crash. I was living life. I was in the church. I was a part of the church, but I wouldn't say I was a practitioner. You go to your doctor school, but you didn't start practicing yet. Yes. So I was in church, but I wouldn't say I was a practitioner. I used to party and thing like everybody else, So, but when my mom died in a car crash, it really affected my mentality. It made me, I was a young guy at that time, so I'm looking at life and I'm like, my mom was an evangelist. My dad is a pastor. My mom is an evangelist. And they're in church all the time.
Right.
To the point that I used to find it was annoying. It's
too
boring.
much, man.
It's like, Tuesday Bible study. The day say like, oh gosh, I can't handle it. But my mom was in church all the time and she was faithful to God all of the time. And yet she died suddenly by a car crash. And I was saying to myself, I was like, imagine she died so suddenly, but was assured. I'm in church, but I didn't even know what my end would be.
Right.
And that kind of made me become very serious with the Lord. And I was like, I realized that life is short. And through that situation, I was like, I want to just do everything for the Lord. And right before my mom died, I had a contract with my cousin in the States. I was getting my first record done, a big R&B song, love song.
About that,
and it had Jay-Z's cousin was the guy who wrote the first song that I ever, my first recording was a R&B song.
Wow.
And I was supposed to go back up to release it in Brooklyn. And when she died, and I got that whole revelation, I called them and said, yo, I'm not going to do this music anymore. I just want to do gospel. My cousin was sad because he had made a lot of big connections.
That's what I'm saying. This major platform.
Yeah, a lot of big connections. But then he's like, but I support you.
Okay.
And from there is when all of it started. And I just started to write for the Lord. And my mission was just simply write music that I feel that people could utilize and that would be a blessing to the Lord and to the people. And I had no real agenda, it was just that I was just going to use my talent to do and be for whatever God wants it to be. Right. And that is how I just kept on going. And as I listen and as I experience life and as I see things, that's how I kept on writing more and more from that place here.
Right. What makes you continue? What makes you go on in spite of?
Well, obedience to God is the first. I have a lot of respect for God, but I believe that once you're called for something, Jonah. I don't want to go through what Jonah went through, right? I think sometimes you just have to stick in there and do what you're called to do, without, even when it doesn't feel as though it's rewarding, and sometimes it could feel like that. Also, just generally the people, because in my 11 years of doing gospel ministry, I have interacted with so many people that were literally saved and who came off of ledges and people who were delivered from all those type of things because of just listening to the music. And I was like, yo, this is a powerful tool. Definitely. And regardless of what happens, I will make that music so that people will be blessed regardless.
Yes. And I think that's what it's not about you getting a hit, getting an award, getting nominated.
But we don't even control it.
Exactly. But the music is there for the people, to empower the people, to bring change. So then content is very important.
Critical.
The lyrical content of the music. And I've listened to your music over time, from Dominion to, you see that.
No music, man. Yes, bro.
Yes, I've been following you, bro. I see, the content, the biblical content within your music, and even from your life's journey, the writings. And I guess that's why you have the testimony of so many people being empowered and lives changing. Because again, it's not just about writing a rhythm.
Correct, no.
All right? It's about the message.
Most
it's about
important.
the message. So take a minute and talk to creatives.
All right, nice.
Talk to creatives about that.
All right, good. Yeah, well, my encouragement would be to creatives would be, firstly, you need to dig deep. Dig deep and allow God to lead you to what is the conversation that you want to have, whether it is in writing or expressing yourself in dance. What is the conversation? It is not to create the next someone else, but to be you. Because being you comes with a whole new virtue and idea and principle. You have a conversation that you need to touch on. And sometimes just to trend, we shy away from our conversations. But we need to dig deep and find out what is that conversation that I'm supposed to be having in these seasons. What is this topic that I need to be talking about? And then when we start to get into that, we can now look at what does the scripture actually say about it? How do I apply this to biblical sense? How do we get an unsaved person to feel this, or even and the church people, how to get them to feel it and understand that this is more than just music. This is more than just us singing a song, but it's all about the mission, all about your purpose. So I would definitely say dig deep. Before you write songs, dig deep, look for your conversation, find out, listen, be sensitive, pay attention to what is happening in your world. Don't write songs just to write them, and don't just write songs because it's happy, but write based on what is in the moment, because there are so many different things that are happening that you could address. But because you're afraid that it may not play on the radio, it may not play, you might say, let me not do it, but just do it. Yes. Nobody is in control of your music other than God. That's the truth. And the beauty about being a creative that is under God's lead is that He is the one that takes it where it needs to go.
That's right.
So after you do the work and you put your all into it, you make sure it's good excellence, you put it out there, God is going to take that to the doors that it needs to go to. Because every quote-unquote hit that I ever had was all God.
Yes, sir.
It was all God. I can't say it was because I did this or because the song was written like this. No, it was literally all God. So this kind of love, we were shocked.
Yes.
We were shocked.
Yes,
we were
yes,
literally
yes,
shocked.
yes, yes.
When that song was in 20-something countries, we were shocked. But it wasn't us, you know? So be sensitive. Stay in that place where God is leading you to your conversation. And right on that.
I love that, Brandon, and you took us to the conversations.
Yeah.
All right, and our music or our ministry or performance or whatever gift we have must speak to the individuals and also be relevant.
Yeah.
All right, and you are having conversations right now with your latest release. That song Accountable.
Yeah, man.
So tell us about that conversation.
Nice, yeah. So Accountable is a really nice song, and it came out with Judah Peters. Much love to Judah Peters and the RSR Studios. When Judah sent me the email, he was like, yo, I have a rhythm. This is the track. And I listened to it and I loved it one time. He sent me 2 emails and both of the tracks I loved. I said, yo, I want to be on this. And when I heard it, it was major key. So it was very happy music. I was like, I know, you can write an easy praise song on this. But when I sat down with the music, I was like, the Lord started to deal with me differently. So not going the easy route of it, he gave me a very serious message.
Just what you said, dig deep.
Yeah. So, and it is usually hard for me because I know that sometimes there's some things that you can write that'll be a lot easier and more palatable than the hard conversations that people don't really want to hear. But we have to write them.
But I think it's important for us as gospel artists to get in the mix of those conversations, to share the message.
We have to be. We have to get in there. We have to say these things because if we don't talk, then people would not be hearing at least combative conversations that helps with the negative that's out there. So when God dealt with me, he allowed me to just simply look at our country, society, our young people. And he was like, look at what's happening. And I was like, how is it that our young men are so sensitive and so desirous of badness? I don't understand it. It's one thing to say, you sing a bad boy tune, whatever. But these guys, they like the zest. They say more zest and less stress, and they're in it. I was like, yo, this is important. Something about what is happening here is encouraging and fueling it. And I was like, we need to be able to have a conversation with those that are on the end of the influence. Not necessarily the ones that are just committing the actions, but the ones that influence the actions. So the big radio stations that only play the Gunman tune every single... Every morning they wake up is Gunman this, crack this, that. They know them as tune and the young people could sing it and they go in the communities and they know it. And they have guns long like lampposts and they know the slang, the conversation. And they're saying, how y'all know these things? But they're hearing it every day. And then when you get up on the next day and you see on the newspaper or on Facebook, a 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 16-year-old, and it's like, yo, the radio influenced this.
That's right.
But then they'll be like, parents, you need to take care of their children. The parents are, but you're also playing a role in that. Your community plays a role in what they get and how they're shaped. And it's like, so you have to hold yourself accountable. Even if you don't, God will hold you accountable. For what you influence with these young children, young people. And that's where that song started.
Yeah, and I love it, Brandon. I love that you took the courage to go that route, to dig deep and have the conversation. And I hope it propels others to do so,
I hope so too.
And you start that. Guys, we're coming to the end of this session, sitting with my boy, Brandon Best. And I just want you for a couple of seconds to just, in the midst of the darkness and everything else, one thing that you are grateful for, in a couple seconds as we wrap up.
I could be thankful for so many things, but I think the one thing that I'd be grateful for the most is community. Because community, church-wise or otherwise, community has been the thing that held us through 2020 and helped my family through. So if you have a good community, hold on to them.
Definitely. So guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the set of Savvy Singers TV. Follow Brandon on all his handles. Brandon Best.
Brandon Best on Facebook, Brandon Best _TT on Instagram, Brandon Best Music on Facebook page, and then Brandon Best on YouTube. Pretty easy.
Brandon Best and you again. All right, so thank you so much. And again, guys, live life. There's a lot to be grateful for. All right, focus on what is happening and not so much on what is not happening in your life. Give God thanks, give God praise. Go out, live, be a conqueror. We love you. See you again. Hi family, we are on the inside of the Savvy Singers TV set, and today I have my brother on the inside. We're going to light up the studio with some vibes. My brother Brandon Best, and he is going to share his latest release, Holding Us Accountable. Give it up for my boy Brandon on the inside, Accountable.
Yo, Savvy Singers TV. Everybody, let me see you one time. Savvy Singers, put your hand in the air right now. Put your hand in the air. Yo, listen. Tell me why we can hardly hear positive music in this nation. In this nation. Tell me why it's only Sessa tunes on the police station. Big radio station. Hey, it's fatness you like so. Well, look at the youth, these are the fruits you contribute when there's no truth. Well, I come to tell you, it's have a man up there who will make sure to hold you accountable for what you contribute, for how you guide you, for all the things you say. You'll be accountable. Listen. Think it right to hook our young boys and our young girls on drugs. Do you sleep at night, leaving gun battles for your children to fight? Mommy, hey, it's fatness you like so. Well, look at the youth, these are the fruits you contribute when there's no truth. Well, I come to tell you. How you guide you, for all the things you say, you will be accountable. Say, hey, this is no joke, this is no joke. Mess with the youth, they will be small. For your influence on me, say, my people accountable. Yeah. There's a millstone by the ocean, hey, a millstone by the ocean. I want to listen to this, right? We have a millstone by the ocean, so you have to be careful. Because Jesus said it's better for a man to hang a millstone around his neck and be cast into the sea than to lead little children astray. So be careful. Get right. There's a millstone by the ocean, yeah. Everybody right now, take a jump, take a jump, take a jump. Like everybody accountable, let me see. This is accountable for all the things you say. My people accountable, say. Hey, everything you say. Accountable. You better know that you will be accountable. Yeah, mommy, be accountable, daddy, be accountable, everybody, be accountable, everybody, be accountable, say, you got to be accountable, yeah, everybody singing accountable, in your house right now, in your car right now, everybody right now sing accountable, everybody sing that, let me hear you sing that. One more time, just say accountable.